Hello everyone, my name is Nori. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have an infill and a polish change on my client. These are her natural nails. We've been growing them for 5 years. I cannot get her to cut them down. She takes really good care of them. Every now and then we'll have a break, but usually for the most part she's very gentle with her nails. She doesn't break them. She doesn't have any chips. She's very good with her nails. Her nails usually last about 3 to 4 weeks. I try to get her to come in sooner than that, but it is definitely a hassle. Right here I'm taking down a bit of lifting. She experiences a bit of lifting more than others because she works with a lot of water, and due to the pandemic we've all been sanitizing our hands and washing them non-stop. So I'm finding that I'm experiencing a bit more lifting than normal, but usually for the most part her nails last a pretty long time. Her natural nails have a natural slight curve, and she likes that. She doesn't try to have me to correct it or anything. This is our version of a cut down, which you can see is not very much. She will only let me take off a fraction of the length. It's so frustrating. I try to get her to cut them down. She doesn't listen. But like I said, she's very gentle. Here, this nail lifted a bit and she glued it down. So that is the shiny part of the nail plate that you see near the cuticle. That's actually nail glue. I don't recommend gluing down lifted acrylic, lifted nails, or gluing on nails that have popped off, because you are essentially gluing down debris, bacteria, fungi. That's the last thing you want to do, is to create an environment for fungi to multiply. So I always tell my clients, if you can, text me, come in, let's repair it. I'd rather repair it than have you glue it down and you wait another 2 to 3 weeks before your infill. Here I'm taking down the color. I usually like to just go straight down with the e-file bit. I try not to go back and forth. That causes a lot of friction, which causes heat, and heat spikes hurt. For some of my clients who go longer than 2 weeks, I find that prep takes longer. The longer they wait, the more cuticle begins to grow and accumulate onto the nail plate. So I find myself going over the cuticle area a couple of times. You want to be as gentle as possible when filing down on the nail plate. Because of heat spikes, it can cause clients to really despise the e-file, and you'll find that they become very jumpy, just wary, and you really want to be gentle. Here I'm going in with the cuticle bit that I purchased on Amazon. I said in my previous tutorial how much I love this bit. It's very narrow. It really allows me to get into the curves and the grooves of the cuticle area. I'm able to get right into the eponychium, push it back gently while removing all of the cuticle that is attached to the nail plate. It's very important that we remove that. If you don't remove it properly, it's going to cause a lot of lifting. And when nails lift, like I've said previously, it can cause bacteria to multiply. So this particular bit cost me $6.99. I will link it in the description below. Purchased this from Amazon. This is the nail that she glued, so I have to take special care when removing the cuticle as well as the dried glue. I don't want to lay acrylic on top of this surface because it's only going to possibly lift within a few days. So I want to make sure that I take all of the lifted acrylic and the glue down. If you have clients that make a habit out of gluing their lifted acrylic or their nails that have popped off back on, please reiterate to them, the dangers of doing so. Let them know this is not a good idea. It is really frowned upon. It's not recommended. If you find that your acrylic is lifting, have them contact you and try to book an emergency appointment if you have the availability. If you're a client and your nail has popped off completely, I understand that you want your nail on. I get it, especially if your nail hasn't been on for the, somewhat guaranteed 2 weeks, but don't do it. A lot of clients, they are quick to blame nail techs for greenies developing, and it's really unfair because a lot of times it's not the nail tech's fault. It can be the client's fault, and the main source of that is water retention, clients gluing their tips and their lifted acrylic back on and back down. So I try to let everyone know, please do not do this, because people are quick to leave reviews, they're quick to post pictures, and it makes you look incompetent as a nail tech. So you really want to reiterate the negative adverse effects of gluing lifted acrylic or popped off nails. I can't tell you how many of my clients in the past have glued tips back on, and when they return, sometimes that particular nail is the only nail that has a greenie, and they're looking at me as if I'm the source, and I have to tell them, no, this happened because you glued the tip down. You literally, the nail popped off, fell onto the ground. You waited, I don't know how long, until you were able to find glue, purchase glue, and you glued it back on. Most of the time when people do that, they don't wash their hands, they don't sanitize, they just immediately glue the nail back on. And I'm not saying that if you wipe the nail down with alcohol or an antiseptic that it will make a difference, but picking up a discarded nail and gluing it back on is the worst thing that you could possibly do. So please don't do it, and please don't blame your nail techs all the time, because a lot of times it's not their fault. Right now we're gonna go in with the acrylic. This is Mia's Secret acrylic. This is monomer from Young Nails, and the Dappen dish is from Glitter Planet UK. I absolutely love this acrylic powder. It's very natural, very soft, and it's one of my go-tos. It lays really, really well. You definitely have to get the powder to liquid ratio down. I like to leave my acrylic a bit more dry. I don't like it running all over the nail, but you also don't want it so dry where it doesn't move and it can start to crystallize. And I know that many of you may have experienced that when the acrylic has crystallized. The nails are, totally covered with acrylic, but for some reason you have a layer of white crystallized acrylic. Sometimes that can happen when the acrylic is too dry. In the past, when I was in high school doing nails, it happened a lot. I didn't understand it. So anytime I was trying to achieve a really transparent, clear acrylic, for some reason it would crystallize, and I didn't understand then that it was because my liquid to powder ratio was incorrect. It was too dry. Now mind you, this was late 1999 to 2003 that I was doing my own nails. There was no YouTube then. The only education you received was if you visited a nail salon, and that wasn't proper education. No offense to NSS salons, non-standard salons, but a lot of times those techs cut corners. So what you saw was a very condensed version of an acrylic application. You didn't really see the products. They didn't properly prep. They didn't push back cuticles. They didn't do cuticle work. They didn't even clip the natural nail clean under it. I mean, I had some really bad experiences with having my nails professionally did as a young adult, a young woman. I really remember just a lot of errors, a lot of inconsistencies. I don't remember having an actual nail tech properly lay acrylic from start to finish. They literally went over your nail plate once or twice, glued on tips, and started laying acrylic. I remember the nails being very bulky, very thick, very lumpy. It was really an experience. And, you know, a lot of times we're all familiar with MMA acrylic liquid. And we know that liquid is used for dental castings. It's used in dentist's office. I'm not sure if it's readily used today, but that is what that acrylic is for. And a lot of times that is the acrylic that they were using on us at the shop. And it was just a really unfortunate situation. So with the proper acrylic, EMA, you find that you have a smoother finish and it files much more easily than the MMA. Here I'm going in with a coarse safety bit, carbide bit. We're just going over the laid acrylic. I'm smoothing it down as much as possible, really just getting it into shape. We want to file the acrylic as smooth as possible so that when you polish your nails, you don't see a lot of lumps and bumps. That's one of the things I remember a lot as well, having my nails done very young in NSS salons, were very bumpy acrylic, lumpy acrylic, and then a very bumpy, lumpy polish application. You know, they were in and out. They wanted you in and out. They were about the money. It wasn't necessarily this art, this, process. It was really unfortunate, the things that we paid for, and unfortunately what a lot of people still continue to pay for. I'm going in now with a medium coarse zebra sanding band. I like to go over the nail behind the carbide bit just to smooth the cuticle area. Because the carbide bit is a safety bit, I find that it doesn't get into the cuticle area as close enough. You want to make sure that you're smoothing that acrylic down, removing any acrylic that has attached itself to the eponychium. You don't want that acrylic left on the eponychium, because after a couple of days it will begin to lift, and like I've been saying, lifted acrylic can cause greenies, so you don't want that. So I like to go over every nail. This also further smooths out any lumps and bumps. And I just go over every nail once or twice, just really good. I want to make sure that the side walls of the nail are also smoothed down as well as round. You don't want the box shape on the side of the nails. You want to smooth that down as much as possible so that it looks very, very clean and crisp. Because these are her natural nails, I tend to do this a bit more. What I don't want is, I don't want to leave any acrylic around the sidewalls or the eponychium, because I don't want any lifting. I do not want her nails to actually break because of an improper acrylic application. So I tend to go over her nails a bit more, just for safety precautions. I mean, we've been growing her nails 5 plus years. So the last thing I would want is for her nails to break. She comes maybe once a month. I can try to get her in here every 3 weeks, but her nails usually last a very long time, and she's not one for constantly coming to the nail salon, and that's understandable. Because her nails last so long, the polish is lasting as well. She doesn't have any chipping. People want to save money where they can, and I completely understand that. I don't recommend it, but I completely understand. Right now I'm going in with a 100 grit zebra manicure file. These are the little small files. They're disposable. I like to use these sometimes because to use a full-size file one time, sometimes it's heartbreaking. Literally, if you go over the acrylic properly with the carbide bit, and then you follow behind that with your zebra sanding band, sometimes you just need to go over just a very quick once over. You know, if you lay your acrylic as smooth as possible, you don't have to do as much filing, or you don't have to file for long. And I just really don't want to waste a full-size file. It's not a waste, but it's just like I really don't need to use them. Of course I have them, but I don't need to use them because of my filing process. Here I'm going in with the No Wipe top coat by D&D, I believe. I like this top coat. It's very thin, and I like to go over the acrylic nails with a UV LED top coat because I want the polish that I apply afterwards to apply very, very smoothly. I don't want to see any streaks. I don't want to see any grooves within the acrylic. So I go over it with a top coat, and it doesn't hinder or affect the nail polish application. Here we're going in with Madam Glam Honeydew. This is a very beautiful, very light aqua, maybe Tiffany blue color. I like this color a lot. 1-2 coats is good, but I think for her we always do 3. Here I'm going around these sidewalls with the art brush that I link below, and a little bit of acetone. I want to wipe up that polish from these sidewalls. I don't want to cure with polish that has run into the sidewalls. She accidentally hit this nail going into the light, so we had to go over it a bit to conceal the scratch in the gel polish. But yeah, I'm going over every nail, a couple of coats. It's a beautiful color. She wanted something very light. She's usually my client that always does black or red. She loves a burnt hot red. She loves fire engine reds, but black is usually her color. I have to pry her away from black. She is a black all year round girl, which I love. I don't have very many clients that like black on their nails or appreciate black, so it's nice to have that one client that does like it. But today I convinced her to do this color. She actually had a job interview, and this is as simple for her as it's going to get. Just a very light color on her nails. Usually every other job she's applied for has been black, and I can't talk her out of it, but this time we talked her into doing a light color, and I like this on her. I think it's very pretty. It's very subtle. Usually she keeps her hands in her lap so that her nails don't become the focus. She's shared with me before that she's had like interviewers like literally stop the interview and comment on her nails, and she always has to flip her hand over and share with them that these are her actual real nails, and she's been growing them for 5 years. She's had the same nail tech. That leads to, oh, who's your nail tech, especially if the interviewer is a female, is a woman. And I've actually received a couple of referrals from her job interview. So, you know, it's always a funny little story with her. But yeah, so this is the color we're doing. I think it's really pretty, and I think if the interviewer were to see this color, it wouldn't stand out as much as black. So I'm very, very grateful that she talked me into a lighter color. Now, because we did this very light color, she will be coming back in exactly 2 weeks because she won't be able to take it. I actually think this is the 3rd coat that we're going in with. I think I've lost count. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is it. I think it's very pretty. I also love to wipe the sidewalls of the polish before I cure it. I know I didn't show it, but it just kind of refines the shape, because with gel polish you tend to lose your shape. So I always file my clients' nails a bit more narrow, because I know that after 2 layers of gel polish and a layer of top coat as the base and then top coating the actual gel polish, I know that the nail is going to become just slightly bulky. So I like to go in and actually wipe the side walls. I'll try to show that in a future video, so you can get an actual visual of what I'm saying. I want to thank everyone for watching my video. I really appreciate you all, and I will see you all soon.